The planet Nivara had always been gray to Lyra. Every sunrise, every tree, every stone appeared in shades of silver, charcoal, and pale gray. She had never seen colors like the humans described, the ones Ethan always talked about when he first arrived. For Lyra, the world had always been beautiful in its own way, but it was a quiet beauty. No fiery sunsets, no bright flowers, no shimmering blues of the ocean she had only read about in books. Lyra lived in the city of Sarion, a place of towering crystal buildings and winding metal streets. Everything was designed for efficiency, for survival, for function. The Nivarans were highly intelligent, skilled in science, art, and strategy, but none of it depended on color. They had developed ways to communicate using vibrations, sounds, and subtle light pulses, and these were enough for daily life. Lyra had never felt lonely, not truly, yet something was missing even if she could not name it. Then the humans arrived. Ethan was one of them, part of a small team sent to study Nivara's environment and its intelligent species. Humans were rare visitors, unusual in ways Lyra found both fascinating and confusing. Ethan walked differently, spoke differently, and had an energy she could not ignore. He was curious, open, and oddly kind, asking questions not just about science but about life itself. Their first encounter had been awkward. Lyra had been sketching in her room, drawing patterns and designs based on her world, when Ethan peeked through the window. He did not speak at first. He only watched, his eyes wide with interest. Lyra felt her cheeks heat up, but she did not turn away. She had seen visitors before, but none like him. "You have a gift," he finally said in broken Nivaran. "Your drawings, they are alive." Lyra blinked.
Alive?
She asked. He nodded. "I mean, they show more than shapes. They show feelings. Can you tell me how?" Lyra considered this. I don't know. I just see what is here. I do not see colors like your species. I see differences in light and texture and shadow. That is enough for me." Ethan tilted his head, fascinated. "You don't see colors?" Lyra shook her head. "I have never seen red, blue, green, like humans do. I do not know what it feels like to see them." He paused, as if thinking deeply. "That must be lonely." Lyra looked away, uncomfortable. She had never thought of it as loneliness. Her world had always been gray. It had always been enough. But Ethan's words lingered in her mind. Could there be something she was missing? Something beautiful she had never experienced? Over the next few days, Ethan and Lyra began spending more time together. He asked her about her life, her interests, her art, and her patterns. She asked him about Earth, about colors, sunsets, oceans, skies. She was curious, but also cautious. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and yet, with Ethan, she felt a connection she had never felt with anyone else. One evening, they walked together through the city park. The Nivaran night was calm, silver light reflecting off the smooth surfaces of the buildings. Lyra noticed how he paused at certain points, looking at the sky, the leaves, the shapes of clouds in ways she never had. "Why do you look at things like that?" she asked. "Because I see them differently," Ethan said. "I see colors in everything. Red in the stones, green in the leaves, blue in the sky. It makes the world alive." "Don't you want to see it too?" Lyra hesitated. I do not know. What if I see something that I cannot understand? What if it changes me?" Ethan smiled softly. "It might, but maybe change is not always bad." That night, Lyra could not sleep. She thought about Ethan's words, about colors she had never known. She imagined them in her mind, shapes of red, blue, yellow, green, and purple, but they were only ideas, only shadows of what must be real. Could her life be more vivid? Could her art, her thoughts, her feelings be deeper if she could see color? Ethan, meanwhile, was working on a plan. He had read about Nivaran biology, about their eyes and their limited perception of light wavelengths. It was complicated. Humans could see a spectrum of colors because of cones in their eyes, but Nivarans were different. He studied their anatomy, trying to understand how technology could help Lyra. He sketched, tested, and built small models. He worked late into the night, adjusting lenses, recalibrating light sensors, and figuring out how to make a device that could translate colors into a form Lyra could perceive. Sometimes he grew frustrated, but he never gave up. He knew Lyra deserved this experience even if she did not realize it yet. Lyra noticed his effort. She watched him from a distance, feeling a strange mix of gratitude and nervousness. She had never needed help before, never wanted it, but with Ethan she felt safe, even hopeful. She did not speak much, but she offered small smiles and sometimes brought him tea. Weeks passed. The device began to take shape, a pair of glasses unlike anything either human or Niveron had seen. They were delicate, sleek, and packed with tiny sensors and lenses. Ethan explained carefully how they would work. These glasses will translate the colors of your world into a form your eyes can see. It will be intense. It might be overwhelming, but I think you will love it. Lyra looked at the glasses with wide eyes. I do not know if I am ready. You might never be fully ready, Ethan said. But I want you to try. Only when you are ready, only if you choose to. Finally, the day came. The air was still, the city quiet under the pale light. Ethan held the glasses out to Lyra. She hesitated, fingers trembling. She had imagined this moment for weeks, but now that it was here, it felt bigger than she had expected. Will it hurt? She asked. No, Ethan said. It will only help you see. Only help you feel more. Lyra took a deep breath and lifted the glasses to her eyes. For a moment, nothing happened. She blinked. Shadows shifted. Shapes blurred. Then, light exploded. The world changed. She gasped, almost stumbling. The silver streets became tinged with colors she had never imagined. Trees glowed with green and gold. Crystals reflected blues, reds, purples. The sky was a canvas of orange, pink, and indigo. She could not have imagined in her wildest dreams. Her heart raced. Tears filled her eyes. Ethan reached out, steadying her. It's okay, breathe, just take it in. Lyra could hardly speak. The glasses were translating the world, making it alive in a way she had never known. Every detail, every pattern, every surface shimmered with emotion she could feel but never name. She felt joy, awe, and wonder all at once. She whispered, voice shaking. It's beautiful, Ethan smiled. I told you. She pulled the glasses off for a moment just to stare at him. How did you do this? I wanted you to see it, he said simply. I wanted you to feel it, not just imagine it. Lyra's tears fell freely, glimmering in the colored light. She laughed, a small, shaky sound, and then she cried again. She could not stop. For the first time, she felt the depth of the world, and for the first time, she understood the power of human kindness, patience, and creativity. The night stretched on. Lyra explored the city with new eyes. She touched surfaces she had walked past 1,000 times, seeing textures and colors she had never known. She drew in her sketchbook, now translating colors she could finally perceive. Ethan followed her, quiet, content to watch her discovery. I feel alive, Lyra said almost to herself. You are? Ethan replied, and for the first time Lyra felt that maybe life could be bigger than she had ever imagined. Maybe, with someone who cared enough to help, the impossible could become real. The night ended, but Lyra's journey had just begun. She had seen colors, yes, but she had also seen something else. The way humans could inspire, care, and connect. She understood now that the world held more than gray. It held possibility, and she was ready to explore it. Lyra could not stop staring. The world around her was alive in ways she had never imagined. Every tree, every stone, every ripple of water shimmered with colors she had only dreamed of. The glasses Ethan had built for her translated the wavelengths into a spectrum her eyes could finally perceive. And it was overwhelming. Not in a frightening way, but in a way that made her heart pound and her chest ache with wonder. Ethan stood beside her, watching her reactions quietly, careful not to interrupt her awe. He had seen humans react to new colors before, but he had never seen anything like this. Lyra's expressions shifted constantly, from astonishment to laughter to tears, and he realized how deeply connected she was to her world in a way that transcended language or science. I never knew it could be like this, Lyra whispered, touching a flower with green leaves and a red center. Her fingers trembled as if the colors themselves were alive. It's more than I imagined. Ethan smiled softly. It's your world. You just didn't know how to see it before. She looked at him, tears glistening in her eyes, reflecting the reds and blues around her. I feel like I'm seeing life for the first time. They walked together through the city streets, now transformed into a kaleidoscope of colors. Silver walls glimmered with hints of blue and violet. Crystals embedded in buildings refracted light in ways she had never noticed. Even the simple flowing streams reflected not just shapes but hues she could finally understand. She reached out to touch the water, and the reflection of her own colorful hands made her laugh with joy. Come, Ethan said, guiding her to a hill overlooking the city. I want you to see something. They climbed carefully, and when they reached the top, Lyra gasped again. The horizon stretched endlessly, a breathtaking display of orange, pink, purple, and gold. The city below sparkled in shades she could now comprehend, and even the distant mountains were painted with subtle blues and greens. She could not stop crying. This time they were tears of pure happiness. I don't have words for this, she said. It's overwhelming, but in a good way. I feel everything. Ethan nodded. That's what color does. It isn't just what you see. It's what you feel. Every color carries emotion, meaning, and life itself. Lyra turned her eyes toward him, grateful beyond measure. Thank you. I can't believe you did this for me. I wanted you to see, he said simply. You deserve it. For the next few days, Lyra explored her world in ways she had never done before. She revisited familiar places, each one revealing details she had never noticed. Flowers she had once thought plain now held intricate patterns of reds, yellows, and purples. The sky at different times of the day shifted from soft pastels to deep, vibrant blues, each color stirring new emotions. She sketched everything, her art becoming richer, more alive than ever. But it wasn't just the beauty that affected her. She began to notice subtle emotional cues in others she had never understood before. The soft glow in her friend's eyes, the blush on someone's cheeks, the colors of clothing, all these now communicated feelings she could comprehend. It was as if a whole new dimension of connection had opened up for her. One afternoon, Ethan took her to a forest outside the city. The trees there were taller, older, and wild, with leaves in shades she had never imagined. Sunlight filtered through them, creating a mosaic of color on the forest floor. Lyra gasped repeatedly, spinning in place to take it all in. This is magical, she said, her voice trembling. I never thought I would see this, Ethan chuckled. And now you can share it with others. She paused. I want to. I want everyone to see what I see. Ethan nodded. Then we can work together. Maybe you can help others who can't see colors, or who see the world differently. You can make a difference. Lyra felt a surge of purpose. She had always been talented in art and design, but now she realized she could use her new perspective to bring joy and understanding to others. She imagined teaching children, helping scientists, and creating art that everyone could experience. It was a new mission, and it filled her with energy she had never known. As they walked deeper into the forest, Lyra noticed small creatures she had never really paid attention to. Their scales shimmered with faint colors invisible before, now glowing with subtle reds, blues, and greens. She reached out to touch one carefully, and it responded by fluttering its wings in a display of iridescence. She laughed, delighted. See? Life has been colorful all along, Ethan said. You just needed the right eyes. Lyra turned to him, tears of happiness in her eyes. You gave me that. You changed my life. The days passed quickly. Lyra's world had become a vivid tapestry, and she found herself thinking more and more about Ethan. He had not just built the glasses. He had understood her, cared for her, and helped her discover a new dimension of life. It was more than friendship, more than curiosity. It was connection. One evening, the city council summoned them. Some Niverans were curious, others skeptical. Humans were rare, and interfering with alien perception raised questions. You have altered her biology? One official asked. Is this ethical? Ethan spoke calmly. I did not alter her biology. I only provided a tool that lets her experience what is already there. It is her choice to use it. She wanted this. She asked for it. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes shining with color. I choose this, she said. I wanted to see my world fully. I wanted to feel more. I am grateful, and it has made my life richer. Humans and Niverans can learn from each other. I support this. The council remained silent for a moment, then murmured among themselves. Finally, one elder nodded. If she chooses this path, we cannot forbid it. Let it be a bridge, not a threat. Lyra smiled at Ethan, grateful for his support. Thank you for trusting me, she said softly. Ethan shook his head. No, thank you for letting me help. You inspire me as much as I helped you. They returned to her home, and Lyra began creating art with colors she had never used before. She painted murals, sketches, and sculptures that reflected the vivid life around her. Children and adults alike came to see her work, amazed at the beauty she captured. She realized that her gift was not just in seeing colors, but in helping others appreciate them too. Weeks later, Lyra and Ethan walked on the hill overlooking the city again. The sun was setting, casting a gradient of pink, orange, and violet across the horizon. Lyra's heart swelled. She felt alive, connected, and full of possibilities. "I never thought I could feel this much," she said quietly. "I never knew life could be so rich." Ethan smiled. "It has always been rich. You just needed the right eyes." Lyra looked at him, feeling gratitude, admiration, and something deeper she could not name. "You gave me more than colors," she said. "You gave me a way to see life, to feel life, and to connect with it fully. I will never forget this." He reached out and gently touched her hand. "And I will never forget seeing the world through your eyes, too. Your wonder, your joy. It's contagious." They sat in silence, watching the horizon as night fell. Stars began to appear, twinkling with colors Lyra could now perceive. She leaned her head slightly on Ethan's shoulder, feeling a sense of peace and happiness she had never known. Lyra realized that the world was bigger than she had ever imagined. Not just in colors, but in connections, friendships, and possibilities. She had discovered that life could be richer, more vivid, and more meaningful when shared with someone who understood and cared. The next day, Lyra opened her art studio to the public. She began teaching young Niverans how to see patterns and expressions in new ways, using her glasses as inspiration. She also worked with scientists to improve the technology, so others could experience what she now experienced. Everywhere she went, people marveled at the colors and beauty she could reveal. Children laughed as they discovered reds and blues in leaves and flowers. Adults gasped at the subtle hues in the city's buildings. Lyra's world had expanded beyond anything she had known, and it was all because of one human who cared enough to understand. At night, when the city was quiet, Lyra often walked alone with her glasses, taking in the beauty of the world. Sometimes Ethan joined her and they shared stories, laughs, and silent moments of awe. She knew that her life had changed forever, not just because she could see colors, but because she had experienced empathy, care, and connection in its purest form. Lyra had cried when she first saw the world in color, and she knew she would cry again, not from sadness, but from gratitude, wonder, and the endless possibilities that awaited her. She had learned that life was more than what the eyes could see. It was about understanding, sharing, and feeling. And as she walked with Ethan through the streets of her city, now alive with colors, she felt a deep sense of hope. The world was bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than she had ever dreamed. And this was only the beginning.